GDPR, you will get a request for recording, you accept, and then we go. So I'm putting myself on mute. The stage is to you, and go.
Okay. So just to give you a brief picture of what Gothenburg is, it's the second largest city in Gothenburg, but the first one to have the number of employees in the city. So it's about 1 million people living in the area. So what we have there is sort of, we are now reorganizing, because it used to be sort of 10 different city committees for the different parts of the city, but now they try to avoid having these sort of special city district committees. So now we have for the social welfare, they have 6 different committees handling everything around the city, so that they're not handled differently in the different city districts. So what we have is about 49,000 employees, and that's all. It's teachers, it's everything around care for the children and all of that. So it's quite a lot of people. And we have also 20 specialist administrations that are sort of taking care of almost everything from water to electricity to everything. And that's also around 60 public companies, which is also a sort of amusement park and like that. So it's quite a variety of different things that's handled within the city. So and health, schools, and social care, that's about 85% of the budget. And that's about 34 billion Swedish crowns. That's a turnover for a year. So it's, and as you know, since it's care, it's everything around that. It's quite a lot of women working in the city, so that's about 73%. And going to how we had website Paul, because they had a solution in the city with hundreds of individual web pages. They were on all different platforms, on all sort of systems to have it. And there's not a common layout. There's not a common way to find the information. So they bought the website Paul, and it was introduced with website Paul 6 in May 2008. And it was supposed to be one website that was called Gothenburg.se with sort of 9 main categories, so that it should be easy to find the information. And all of the editors were working in the same solution. And from the beginning, there were about 700 editors. And most of them are very rarely editing. So I don't think they weren't too pleased with Wickham as it was at that time. So it has evolved a lot. And then when they tried to have these 9 sort of different categories, everybody was trying to find, where is my website? And then it was sort of created for each of these different small units in the city. It was created as a unit page. And that was sort of based on Wickham solution. And also we had a third, which was the units that had some special needs with their own profile to have and everything around that. So that was also created with a template that could be sort of everything looked the same, but they could change it with different colors, with different things in CSSs and like that. So it's for them to have their own special layout. And also we had the same solution for internet, and it was sort of, then we went from 24 city districts to 10 city districts, and now there's 0 city districts. And they also had to have a solution where they could have all these steering documents and all of that, where they could be found and gathered. So in 2012, we migrated to POLS 7. And so since there was kind of different demands on the setup between the internal and the external solution, then we divided it into 2 different environments, or 2 different clusters. So, and then the internet solution was migrated to WebSport 8 in January 2013 and POL 8.5 in 2016. And the external solution was also migrated to 8.5 in 2015. And then we had this sort of what we call component framework, which is sort of based on that we are transforming it, the content or how it looks with XML stuff. So it's that was also introduced in 2016. And at that time, we had this help from a company called EdgeGuide in Sweden. And they introduced something what we called Unit Page 2.0. And then sort of for all the units, we can give them a template package for different things that, you know, like the schools, they have one template package, and daycare and like that. And also in that there was a function in this that we have these common content, or the mandatory content, that can be changed and sort of distributed out to all the different sites that have been built with that templates. And as it is now, it's sort of, now it's past 1100 units. So everything that's growing in the number of pages. So it's, and as you can see, this is a sample of how these unit pages look like. They have all the same templates. They have to have the same sort of look and feel and way to make it easier for the users. And I guess it looks a bit different now, the start page, but having all these sort of navigational cards. And we also have introduced something we call e-services. We have these forms that could be just a simple form, or it could be connected to any of the backend systems that are automatically updated and like that. So and they are also sort of standardized so that they all look the same. They have the same look and feel there as well, and the same way of filling in the forms and introducing the forms. So we could say that what we are sort of having is that we're always struggling to keep up with the CF levels. And since we had these sort of major changes to the layout and functions for the administrators or the editors that was introduced in CF 08, we had a very long time to actually get over that, because we had to build some things, or we have developed some shortcuts or solutions or way to actually for the editors to do all the things there. So it's kind of a challenge to update or to get up to somewhere else. And as we said, we finally now we have actually the same level. So we are now on CF 16 and on POL 9.5. So it's the next step we will take is to hopefully go to CF 19 in this within this year. So it's, and what we have is sort of, we have limited budget for the infrastructure, because since we don't have any income more than the tax money that we get, it's always sort of the UI and the functions in there is always more important to the responsibles than for us to have the infrastructure in the background to, and that doesn't give any sort of visible improvements on the website, more than it maybe a bit faster, but that doesn't give any benefits to give us some money. So we always try to find solutions for sort of our administrative help. So we try to find some open source, like, so we have this site speed to keep track of how the website is performing. We got all of these sort of Jenkins, everything around that. So and also, since we have an organization where we have database is one group within the organization that's handling, the LDAP is another, and the network and like that. So we are trying to keep up with that, and since we don't own that, it's hard for us to say that now the database is not working. So we have to set up all sorts of different tools to actually measure that and to see where actually the problem is, because everything that is a problem is sort of only visible on the website, and then we have complaints saying that Gothenburg SE doesn't work. So and also the organization is very Microsoft oriented. We are now having sort of Office 365 and like that, instead of what we had before was Lotus and like that. So it's so we have had preferred Windows servers, but now finally we were able to get over to Linux, and we find that to be more effective. And since there's always a lot of overhead on the Microsoft Windows servers, and we also have a sort of a limited setup for the Oracle database, which doesn't give us 724s. So we are not in charge of that solution, but we are working on it, because as it is now, we have to take down the database 4 times a year to actually update or to patch the Oracle servers. And that's not what we really like when we have demands on having 24/7. So it's, and then we also have, as I said, we set up this support system to have it in sync and to have it updated. So I mean, we got GitHub, we got Elasticsearch, we got Nexus, Jenkins, and also all sorts of clients for the developers. And so in our organization, we have quite grown and adding developers and resources for that. And also keeping the code in sync. That's kind of, so what we're having is we're divided into different teams. So we got sort of one for the external and the internal. We got for the e-platform that handles the e-services. We got the team that I am a member of, which is the maintenance team. So we introduced agile development. We work in 3-week sprints, release to production every Thursday. And also trying to work with the best practices for developers, and get Bitbucket for the code, and Nexus for getting everything around. So, and Jenkins for building all sorts of stuff here. So it's what we aim for is to have some kind of continuous deployment. We're slowly getting there, but hopefully there will be some solutions for that as well. So I mean, our solutions are actually saying that we got an F5 load balancer, and we got Web Seal in front to take care of all the authentication and all of that. So an Oracle database and CDS clusters in in the background for running it. And we also still use URL mappings because that's everything is based on, or many things are actually based on that. And you could also, we have these services for the citizens that sort of the applications for different things out in the city. And that has grown a lot as well. And this is also having all of the sort of ordering stuff done for the employees to order maybe anything, email, databases, network, connections, you name it. That's an awful lot of order things that's going to be done there. What you can do is sort of here, you can have an opening in the firewall for different services and order that. So it's and we also had this sort of the old-fashioned unit pages that was built on having one navigational structure on top, but then the next was only WCM, but that was quite hard for the editors to understand the difference between having pages within the portal and then the rest was just sort of WCM content. So the new unit pages are more looking like this, where you have different things about opening times, prices, what to do, or in the different sort of gyms and like that. So it's and we have been very keen on actually having, because we had this development problems, or what could you say? We had a special development server that all the developers were actually working against, and that was also always causing us problems because they could have the 4 or 5 different versions of the applications within that server, one for each developer, and they were all in different stages. They made some changes, so it was almost every time it wasn't working for them, or not as they wanted it to be. So we started up. I would say it's now maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where we had this development environments in Docker, so that everyone has Docker for Windows as a developer, and we create or sort of we build images that are containing at least all the portlets we got, and some of the pages and all the configuration and all of that. So, and that's also built every Friday, because we have these updates that are deployed every Thursday morning. So on Friday and on Saturday we build all the images that picks up all the latest applications that's been sort of done or there or changed on Thursday, so that on Monday when everybody comes, they got a fresh image to pick down and to start up and sort of have a new fresh one. But this is sort of also with limited content and pages, because what they need is more or less that for the developers to have what they need, so they can import and build it up if they want more content, and if they want more pages and like that. We got some routines to do that as well. And as I said, we had this OpenShift environment set up in the end of the last year. So we configured it and had to set it up to reflect our external website. And I think we did succeed, but we had some problems on the way. but managed to solve them, I guess. So this week on Tuesday, we had a demo for the editors and all the developers, that we try to focus on the new features. And what we can see is that DAM is sort of the most interesting part for us to actually get rid of all these documents and all these images and all of that that's now resides within WCM. And it's hard to find it. We built some solutions to actually get a list of the documents that are saved in WCM. And we also had this content composer, and what I think was the most was that the new APIs and all the new possibilities for the APIs that they found very interesting. So we are actually planning for the future, and hopefully we will have a production-like environment for OpenShift that has been decided now finally within our organization and the server organization. So it's hopefully we will have this within this first half of the year. We will have a production environment, and if we want to go on with that, we will probably have a DAM solution, but maybe still have our clusters still within our organization. And what we can see there is that hopefully we can have it a bit easier and are able to update with this coming CFs more frequently than we do now, because now it's kind of it's a challenge to do it. And also learning the organization and getting the organization on track for having a containerized environment. And what we aim to get is that to get URLs that are readable and above all bookmarkable for the users and the editors. They copy these with the states in them, and they're very not easy to read, and sometimes they get out of order as well. So, and to keep the editors are sort of happy when they can work or when they know what they have, because the content tools are, when they are changed or anything is changed within that, they're not too keen on learning that. So it's also, lots of applications are developed, and they are developed with different versions of tools and everything around that. So it's hard to get them in sync. Hopefully we can have some kind of where we have all the same versions of all the tools that they're using, but now we have an awful lot of different versions and different lot of techniques to do things. So and we've also gone the way to move out some functions to microservices. So we have created something we call Calendarium, which is a function to show all the events that are going on in the different parts of the city. So they can have or add different events that are going to happen in the different areas, and tag them with their unit and like that, so they can be shown on different unit pages, so they can be shown on the main page and like that, and searching for it. And that has also been created as I think the first microservice that we actually did. So it's and also we have something we call the service guide that contains all the information with the address, map points, and all of that the editors have added it within a Lotus Notes database. And now we're trying to move it out from Lotus Notes, but creating this has taken a long time. So now we are trying to have that and to get some kind of performance on it, I think that we have chosen now to have a Mongo database for this, and an easy way for the editors to update the information and keep it update and have a quality of it as well. So that's mainly what I had in mind to share with you. If there are any questions or like that, so.
First of all, thank you. Thank you really for sharing all this. I will stop the recording now, and then we open cameras and microphones